Welcome to Prisca Theologia. Today we are going to be talking about the power of chanting the holy names of God, or the Helios names of God, how to utilize your connection with the solar force or the solar deity. As we know, in many cultures, there have been different variations of ways to use sound to commune with the Godhead. Whether it's Sufism, Muslim, Orthodox Christian chanting with the Jesus prayer, or with the Vaishnavas, or the Eastern traditions chanting of various mantras, such as the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, or Om Mani Padme Hum. I was using a ride service, and I got a ride from someone who practices the Muslim tradition, and he had prayer beads. And for a second, I thought, it was possibly a Vaishnava or someone, like the Christian tradition. Then that's when I found out that they also use the prayer beads when they're chanting and praying to Allah, forgive me, Allah, forgive me. Now, all of these different practices stem from, the eternal Prisca Theologia, where we all knew that these were transcendental methods to commune with the higher states of consciousness. So it was said in this age of Kali Yuga, or in other words, the winter, I call it the winter of our conscious cycle, the best way to purification and illumination is to chant the holy names. Now we know that all is a tomb. We're looking at the Sambes method. We know that all is a tomb, meaning, back to referencing what the ancient Egyptians said, all is atum, or as in Genesis, all is Adam, all come from Adam. This is the word made flesh, the emanated word that crystallizes into matter. In the winter of our conscious cycle, other known as this part of the sine wave that is closest related to the winter cycle, would be Kali Yuga, which is the age that we're in right now. It has been said by many Eastern wise saints, such as Prabhupada, Ramakrishna, as well as Orthodox Church fathers, ancient Christian mystics, that one of the best ways to purification, illumination, is to chant and focus and concentrate on the names of God. So we all know that things are happen within cycles, and that spring, summer, fall, and winter also happen in ages of 24,000 years. In the golden age, or the summer age of man and women, we were able to meditate simply for various amounts of time to actually meditate on the supernal higher nature. But as consciousness has declined in this age, has been prescribed that chanting or utilizing sound is the most effective, quick way to develop devotion or bhakti, to be able to regain the ability to commune with the higher entities, or the higher forces, the higher intelligence, the higher nature of man. So now in this winter age of consciousness of Kali Yuga, we only live 100 years, and we have a lot of materialistic responsibilities, and it's harder to practice the ascetic life that could be needed. We can hermit. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do that. We should be doing, living our life as a complete renounced renunciant or ascetic. In this age, we should be in the world, but not of it. So there has to be a healthy balance. But even long periods of just, being able to hermit is very beneficial, to be able to seek solitude. But even in this age, that can be hard. So that's why chanting can help you become absorbed in the transcendental consciousness. So in this winter age, as we only live to about 100 years, lots of materialistic responsibilities, it's hard to stay absorbed in meditation for long periods of time. It's said that in this age, the power of seeing the glories of the Lord, chanting his names, and dwelling on the pastimes are able to elevate the soul from its material hankering. All true religious traditions know the fact that the soul is descended in, or become conditioned in, dense form of matter, as now in the material nature. So essentially been entombed in matter. Material nature nullifies the power of the spirit and makes the soul interact through a mortal vessel. This mortal vessel, the material body, is how we interact here in the physical realm, and we are subject to its particular laws. The body can get hurt. It also can cause pain to others, hence the crimes of this world. While the soul is incarnated in this material plane, it is under the modes of the three gunas: passion, goodness, and ignorance, or waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. We are either active, passive, or neutral. We are either under passion, ignorance, or in the mode of goodness. As humans, we have faiths, have faults, and sense hankerings. Perhaps we are above certain sense pleasures and desires, but we are not bitter. But we, like, for example, let's say we are above certain sense pleasures, like we've overcome the ability to, transmute our sexual energy. We've overcome the ability to overindulge in food, but at the same time, now we are bitter, or we still have regrets, or we still have resentments that we can take care of. So these are all symptoms of being in bondage to material nature. We have the 5 pains of existence. We have the ability to experience both pleasure and pain. So the best, most, and efficient way in this age of winter and confusion is to chant the holy names of God, whatever tradition, whatever part of the world, whatever language. All the words that describe God are the same: Krishna, Christ, Christos, Allah, which means all. The Hermetists say all is all and the all is in all. As material entities, our souls are subject to the law of time. The mantras or name of God, such as Allah, Allah, or Yeshua, or Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, come from the transcendental realms of eternity. These sounds, for example, like Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's the sound the energy makes when it emanates first from the eternal bosom of the emanation of the invisible realm. The counter space realm emanates that sound, the Christ. That ray creates all things. Now, sound is more subtle than the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, air. Hence, it's able to put them in a state of control. The sound can control the 4 elements because it's more subtle. The sound produces vibrations of love and supreme wisdom, and allow the consciousness to rise above the material sense plane, allow you to rise from the 3 lower chakras into the heart and into the throat. Listening and reading the pastimes of the solar entities, the sun is a symbol of love and wisdom. It's the pure intellect of the creator. It is the physical manifestation of the invisible deity. So when we're listening and reading to the books that emanate from that solar orb, we are activating the part of us, or the nous, the central intelligence within us, and invoking the flames of deity. And when we're reading like the New Testament, the stories of Jesus, Krishna, Allah, the pastimes of Moses, these are able to help elevate the mind. It speaks to the higher consciousness in us, activates the right hemisphere of the brain, which is the receptive feminine side. The conscious mind can use the sacred stories to help formulate an image, and then the subconscious mind digests the symbols, and you're given the true meaning through revelation. Listening to the story of Jesus walking on water, or stilling the storm, or Krishna directing Arjuna on the battlefield produces transcendental thoughts in the brain, and allow one to experience the higher realities and transcendental realms beyond the 5 senses. If one puts aside time for chanting at least 1 hour a day, and or chants with full devotion the holy names of the Lord, one can surely be purified of bad habits and sinful behavior that produces pain. We take our monkey mind and thoughts that we carry day to day and replace them with the mantra that develops concentration on the causal reality. When we say the name of the prime creator, we are putting our energy and focus in inspiration. We begin to align our inner chakras with the positive vibrations of the names. The names give us inner power, inner strength, and ability to overcome. So it increases our willpower. Names such as Rama, Krishna, Yeshua, Christ, Christos, Allah, Om, Vishnu, Om, Hari, Hallelujah, Allah, Yod-He-Vav are all names referring to the supreme intelligent causal plane. When we invoke this, we invoke the intelligence of Christ. So when we're in a situation where we feel weak or defeated or mortal, when our sense of mortality is knocking on the door, we can invoke the flames of the immortal spirit by chanting. When we do the mantra out loud, we're producing physical effects. When we do the mantra internally, we are using our internal astral body. And when we do it even on a silent level, we are invoking the actual being itself. So this presentation is going to be devoted to the yoga of devotion and chanting the sacred names. The throat chakra is what's stimulated when we do specific mantras such as Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. 16 words, 16 times, equivalent to the 16 petals of the throat chakra. This particular lotus with the 16 outer petals symbolizes the throat chakra. And when we chant Hare Krishna, we're activating the thyroid gland and allowing us to attune our word with the higher supernal energies. Sometimes our words can become loose and we begin to just speak impulsively. But when we use this mantra, we can control our sense of wanting to outpour our energy through our words. We can keep the energies in check. Because sound is more subtle than the four elements, it's able to put them under control. Sound is one of our closest aspects to the invisible realm that we have access to as human beings. This is why chanting and music have been so important in all the various traditions. If we chant every day, we can start to rise the chrism, because when we chant, the sound almost magnetically draws the fluid up into the brain. Chanting can purify that energy. It's a great way to transmute the sexual energy. The Orthodox chant, the 33 knots symbolize the age of Jesus, or the cerebral spinal fluid as it crawls up the 13 vertebrae of the spine. So they do the chants and they do the Lord's Prayer. The Sufis or the Muslims hold the mishabah between the thumb and index finger and feed it through the fingers each time they repeat aloud in their mind the various prayers of Allah. This is the same as the Vaishnavas chanting 16 times, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. This is the eternal way to commune. This is how to activate the heart chakra. In ancient times, we were singing a lot more. We were able to understand the relationship between singing and the higher transcendental planes of existence. The throat chakra is akin to the sky, and the earth or the heart is the green chakra, the fields. And when we chant, it brings the energy from the earth into the throat so that we can speak the truth, so that we can have the ability to commune with the intelligences of Mercury, because the intelligences of Mercury rule the communication of the throat chakra and how we express ourselves. Now, from Western perspectives, there's ways to chant and stimulate the chakras. From the top of the head, we have Eheye, which is Hebrew for I am. I am Aries in the cerebrum. That's why it's at the top of the head, the crown chakra, where the I am exists. When we meditate and chant Eheye, we should feel it above the head and start activating the awareness that we have above. Instead of just always feeling that we're inside of the body, start activating our awareness above in the torus field above our head, chanting Eheye, Eheye, Eheye. And then in the throat, Yod He Vav, Yod He Vav, Yod He Vav, Yod He Vav. Solar plexus, Yod He Vav He Elohim, Elohim Bahadath, Yod He Vav Elohim, Eloah Vedayath, Yod He Vav Elohim, Eloah Vedayath. This is supposed to say Eloah. Then, to stimulate and transmute the sexual energies in the bottom of the tree of life, Yesod on the tree of life, we then say Sadaya Chai, Sadaya Chai, Sadaya Chai. And this ignites the sexual energy and allows it to spark and transmute and vaporize into the spinal canal. Finally, at the feet, to ground ourselves, Adonai Yaretz, Adonai Yaretz, Adonai Yaretz, Lord of the earth, Hebrew for Lord of the earth. Understanding our grounding, to ground our magnetic field through our feet, to bring our consciousness to from our head to our toes. And then we bring the energy up, shepherd's crook, and around with the eyes to the center point, to where Brahma's cave. So where we can see, we can feel the personal nature of the supreme entity, God, as well as the impersonal nature that sustains our physical existence that resides here between the eyebrows. Chanting and using sound is the best way to transmute the sexual energy. Samael Weor says that an hour of chanting can develop us a lot of the internal abilities. Not that we should strive for them, but in this day and age, we need to use them to stay alert, to stay vigilant, and to help heal others, to help people gain an understanding. The various mantras, depending on your liking, depending on what your soul's attracted to either do the Western or the Eastern. From the Rosicrucian school of Krumheller and Samael Weor, they taught the vowels, the vowels that we use that are associated with the 7 glands or the 7 chakras. Now, every day you could either do one mantra at a time or utilize, in a direct order. For example, like you could just work on E at the top of the brain to work on your clairvoyance. You should do this very, very loud in a dark room, tongue at the roof of the mouth. Breathe in, E. You should feel it vibrating the pineal gland and start to see into the darkness to bring light within to the darkness of your field of vision in the dark room and start to feel the effulgence of Brahman. Then we have the throat, so you can go directly down. So do E, breathe out, breathe in, breathe all the way out, breathe in, heart, adrenal gland, solar plexus, breathe in, thymus gland, near the chest again, for the immune system, ruled by Cancer, the crab, which is the prostate or the uterus. Then finally, while pulling slightly up on the perineum muscle and directing the energy to the third eye, procreative organs. So I've drawn a diagram to show each mantra with each gland and each part of the body to focus on as you do the mantra. When you combine this with the transmutation of the sexual energy, this is how it vaporizes the energy and transmutes the entity that's within the sexual energy, and it allows to draw the spirit from the waters. So it uses the fire to ignite and evaporate the water into the spirit. This is how we commune with the knower of the field. I put together a bunch of verses from the Bible that all are syncretized with the Eastern tradition of the Vaishnava tradition for why it's so important to chant the holy names. So we have, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Speaking to one another in psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, sing and make music from your heart to the Lord. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. And then we have in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna. Of the great sages, I am Bhragu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. So Krishna says he manifests in these wondrous forms, one of them being the chanting. It's called a sacrifice of chanting because instead of letting your thoughts think or think of desires or think of, just let your mind wander, you're choosing to set aside time to commune with the knower of the field. And please watch the video Purushan Prakriti, a few videos back to fully understand the difference between the knower and the field. It says, let them praise his name with dancing, making melody to him with tambourine and lyre. Sing to him a new song, play skillfully on the strings with loud shouts. This is all declaring that God made man to play his music. The music was already there eternally. God made man with manos, with hands, to be able to play instruments, to be able to write music, to be able to write the music of the spheres, the divine inspiration that we're able to grasp and bring down to the physical realms of existence. These sounds like Mozart, Beethoven reached such a high level of consciousness that they were able to take the music of the spheres or the music of the ocean or of the seasons and make them into music. They didn't invent it. They were able to write it. Creator made man to play the music that was already there eternally. When we chant Om, Om Vishnu, Hare Krishna, or Ram, 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 Jadadada, 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 Jadadada. We have to focus on witness ourself chanting, witness yourself chanting from the third person point of view to understand the perceiver and the perceived, to create a split. Chanting for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes can take you to all different types of supernal realms on the tree of life. It extracts you from bodily consciousness of Malkuth and could put you into Tiphereth or even Kether. The source of light is the Supreme Spirit, Brahman, Krishna, or Christ. So we have the center, the sun, which is the personal aspect. The rays are akin to the energy or the impersonal force, which is the emanation. The beautiful energy, I'd say like the kind of like the Holy Spirit, the energy that's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. We have the local principle personality self, and then we have the rays, which are non-local but everywhere. Then we have the rays that accumulate and produce souls. This aspect is the part of the Bhagavan or the personal aspect of God that resides within our self, or the super soul, the nous, the higher self, Krishna, Christ. Chanting helps us see past the impersonal effulgence of these rays. Because have you ever noticed when you try to look at the sun, you can't see it because of the rays? Here in this book here, Suri Isho Upanishad by Sri Prabhupada, it says, "O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I." As we can see, and as we can see, we have a picture of the sun. I've noticed a lot in different various scriptures and books that they kind of make it obvious that it's the sun, because they literally have a picture of the sun. Now, I'm not talking about the physical orb. They understand, the seers have a profound understanding that the physical sun represents the invisible force, the deity. In the Upanishad, it says, "As the sun, revealer of all objects to the seer, is not harmed by the sinful eye, nor by the impurities of the object it gazes on, so the one self dwelling in all is not touched by the evils of the world." So when we chant, we're able to form that direct relationship with the knower of the field, which is the internal sun, the invisible sun. That sun purifies us of negative thoughts, negative emotions, and stops us from negative actions. It takes us from the guna of rahas and passion into sattva and goodness. Activating the heart chakra is akin to allowing the soul to ascend from earth to the sky, or to the bowels of earth into the high heavens, and commune with higher entities. We can even use chanting to help produce astral projection and lucid dreams by falling asleep while chanting a mantra internally. There's 3 different ways to chanting. We can chant physically, silently, like Ram, 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 Ram. Then we can chant inside, silently, no one can hear it. That's the astral entity. And then finally, silently chant up here as if almost it's someone incomprehensibly chanting the still, small, silent voice within. The sound of the Ancient of Days. Try to chant so silently within, it's almost inaudibly within and inaudibly without. But you know that you're intending to say it, almost as if you're speaking without fully saying the words within yourself. Chanting pulls the soul out of the association with matter and sense consciousness, allowing the self to be realized, or the witness, the invisible principle, rather than being identified with the physical elements. The chanter identifies with the witness and watches the entity who is chanting from third person. This creates a split of the perceiver and perceived. This extracts the consciousness from the tomb of matter and pulls it up the tree of life into the star, the Ancient of Days, or the Ein Sof, the unlimited light, the limitless light. And this is how we can activate our transcendental consciousness by chanting and mixing it with sexual transmutation. The sound transmutes the sexual energy up into the spine and nourishes the glands and the chakras, nourishing the tree of life. I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation on chanting and sound, and hope that you guys will join me next time. Thank you.